Well, welcome back to the Timeline Ranch. I figured I'd do a video showing you how to make the riverbed gravel, shelves and different things I've made out of that. The full process from where I source the material to what the final product looks like. Let's get going. So here we are at the river. This is what I'll be collecting here. Just a mix of sand and gravel. You can go along, you can see different size kind of separate themselves. You'll have sand, little pockets of sand in certain areas, like along the edges or like a turn. Let me get some of this gravel. Nothing fancy here, just a flat shovel, a bucket, and then 30-gallon plant pots. I'll fill them up right about 5 inches from the top, and then I'll set these little ones in the top of that and fill those up. That's about all the rock I want to haul along with the weight of this machine. The only thing bad about it is, I really need to put the bucket in here and have everything arranged how it's going to be, so I got to tote the rock. I put it up on the fender well and then pick it up on the side and set it on the track and then get in there and dump it into the planter. Well, got my exercise for the day. I just got to drop that water barrel down so it don't fly out. Be back on the road again. Look back at it again. Fixing to mix up some of those riverbed gravel pieces for the stairs out in West Texas. I'll show you what my mix ratio is. So this is a jig that I made. If you didn't catch that video when I was making this and showed it out there at the ranch, this will be the base trim going up the wall on the stairs. So I've got 1 through 8. There's a little bit of variation between them, like 7 and 8. As you can see here, it's going to have 3 extra inches added on this side to make it to that door that's on the upstairs up there. And it also have this extra piece here to get it up to the height that it needs to meet the base trim for the other section. Number 1 will have this extra piece on it here. This will be the landing right here on the stairs to tie into that base there. So I formed up 6, which one of them is number 1 piece and the other one is 2 through 6. I'll still need to do 7 and 8. I'll show you the forms over here. So this one will be number 1. You can see I made it larger. So what I'm planning on doing is just pour it and then cut out the exact size that I need. I found it's easier to do that than to try to form it exact, because the edge doesn't come out very crisp on it when you're doing the cement work. Here's some of that riverbed gravel that I picked up on that other trip. It's a mix. You know, there's some bigger rocks in there. You don't want any too large though, you know, because that form's only 1.5 inches deep. So I'm going to do a 4-to-1 mix ratio. This is 4 of these 1-gallon paint jugs of gravel. And then this is 1 Portland. This is the Portland cement I'm using. So I'll make 2 batches, and that should be pretty close to what I need to pour these 6 here. And then I'll also be adding my favorite stranded fiberglass to give it a little bit more strength. Well, let's get started. Well, I got those 6 poured. The wind was something else. Blew my camera over twice. I had to stop filming. Well, next you'll see me doing the grind and the 50 grit wet sanding on it. See you a little later. Well, here we are about a week later. I'll show you what they look like after I wrecked them out of their forms. You know, I wasn't trying to finish them perfect. I'm going to be grinding them, so just needed the basic shape and make sure it was all compacted with not very many air bubbles in there. This one here broke when I was trying to get it off the foam. You know, I've poured multiple things on top of this foam and it's real rough. That concrete really bonded to it this time, so I think I need to flip the foam over. It's a lot smoother on the other side because I didn't have a lot of problems with it sticking when it was newer. So I'll have to make an additional one to replace that one. I don't have too many fancy tools to work with on this. Just this is a flush grind bit. I'll go over it first with that. And these are bigger than what I actually need. You know, I'm gonna do the grind and then I'll cut it out with the angle grinder. Just cut off blade. And then on the upper edge, which will be this edge here, I'm gonna do a round over just on one side, because the other side will be against the wall, and once the sheetrock butts to it, you'll never see it. How's what it looks like after the rough grind. I still have to do the 50 grit wet sand on it. Let me get it wet. I'll show you how the stones are going to look once it gets the clear coat on it. Yeah, it's gonna look nice. Good mix of small and big rocks. I'll show you how they're gonna stack out. So each piece is made so it will connect to the next like that. I'll have to cut each one out, you know, like I did that one. This jig was made for the number 1, which was the bottom one. There's only one like it, exactly like it. That'll be the very first one on the right hand side of the stairs. Well, let me get to grinding. Try to get some more of these done before it gets dark on me. Next, I'll be doing the wet sand. That'll be another day, though. Here we are a couple weeks later. That's all the pieces for the stairs. Still need to do the wet sand on them. But I think it's going to look real nice with that epoxy on it. These two are at the top. That'll be the second floor. We'll sit up against that. I didn't know exactly how long that portion needed to be, so I just made it a little extra, and then I'll cut it out there at the ranch when I get out there with it. Both those sides. These are some other pieces. These are for the toe board area on the stairs. They're a little larger. I just went ahead and cut one side and cut one square side, and the other sides I'll have to cut again when I have the exact measurement. This is the step for the very top of the stairs. It's a little wider than the other steps. That's one more of the boards for the toe board area. These are for the toe board area of the shorter step. This is on top of the landing, and it'll go down to the lower step portion right by the door. I still have 2 more to pour. I'll probably grind these other 2 toe board pieces that I have tomorrow, and possibly one of these, and then I'll pour those other 2 probably the following day. I'll be back in a little while. So it's about a week later. I'm going to do the wet sand on it now. We'll start with this piece here. It's a fairly inexpensive wet sanders as they go. I've used this quite a bit already. It just has water coming in here, cord, nothing fancy. It's a variable speed, on off. I'm just going to wet sand it with 50 grit. That's usually the most you need to do when you're going to do an epoxy coat on it. You can see it's going to stand out real good when we get that epoxy coat on it. I bought some. It comes, when I bought it, it came with a variety of different, like 400 grit all the way up to I think it was 800 grit was the smoothest. I bought these aftermarket. Well, let me get started. Got a bunch of pieces to do. Got 2 there, 1 there. All those pieces for the stairs. All these pieces for the stairs. Yeah, gonna take a little while. Here's what it looks like after the 50 grit. Yeah, I think it's gonna look pretty nice. I still need, this piece is long. I'm gonna have to cut some off of this side, cut some off of this side, and then I'll have to cut a little off this end once I get out there and get the exact measurement of it. Yeah, these stairs are gonna look real nice. Unique, for sure. If you're interested in a fairly inexpensive wet sander that'll get it done, I'll put a link in the description. It'll be an Amazon link. Any purchase will help the channel financially and is appreciated. So here we are at the ranch with the pieces that I made. Fixing to do the epoxy coat on them. Got quite a few pieces here. Alright, it's time to put the first coat of epoxy on there. So I used Beast Bond. It's a 1-to-1 mix ratio. I'm going to mix 300 milliliters. It's about as much as you can mix and use before it starts to harden up on you. If you're interested in the epoxy that I use, I'll put a link in the description. It's an Amazon link. Any purchase will help the channel and is appreciated financially. Let's get going. Sometimes you have to do a third coat depending on how thick the pits are and the pieces you're working. Good thing about most of these pieces is just one side that needs to have the epoxy on it. The rest of it's going to be against the wall. See those rocks starting to stand out nicely now. Yeah, this stuff's amazing how much it brings out the colors, whatever you're working with. And it's going to look real nice on those stairs. Very unique. Of course, I guess everything out here at the ranch is pretty unique in its own way. Just got to put that extra effort in to make it that way. Well, I got them all coated. Yeah, I think they're going to look real nice on the stairs later. So that's how I make all the riverbed gravel pieces from start to finish. We'll see you all in the next one.